To business news now, and business reporter Chris Kohler joins us live, and it's a quiet day on the market as expected, Chris.
Yeah, pretty much, Annalise. Look, 0.4% higher as I speak to you at 6,716 points. It is mostly going to be a week of waiting for key global events. This week we've got the ECB decision, lower interest rates expected there. And then next week the Federal Reserve will be in focus and also expected to cut interest rates. But of course later this week we're also going to be seeing some key quarterly earnings results from about 30% of the S&P 500 stocks. Now that includes the likes of Facebook, Alphabet and Amazon. So a lot of focus is going to be there. And those are the sorts of key drivers that are going to take us through to the end of this week. But right now, a lot of waiting and seeing from our local investors.
Chris, an interesting and rare intervention from Kenneth Hayne on that APRA report.
Yeah, that's right. It was rare at all to hear from a Royal Commissioner after a final report has been handed out. The comments themselves, of course, as you'd expect from Kenneth Hayne, were very measured. He basically just said that he entirely he thought that the capability review was entirely consistent with his own Royal Commission report. Of course, the capability review was handed down last week, and it was quite critical of APRA. Particularly with regard to its handling of superannuation, and it made 24 recommendations. Now, the criticism here of Wayne Byers, who's in charge of APRA, has been that he's been kind of sitting on the fence a little bit. While he's been broadly open to all of the changes, he's been saying, well, we need a little bit more funding if we're going to put it through. There's a risk of turning the whole thing into a great heaving bureaucracy. And I think a lot of the analysis on Kenneth Hayne's comments here is just kind of a bit of a rev up. You know, come on, Wayne, we really need to get this situation sorted. It's been a while now since the final report was handed down. Its main focus, arguably, was on mortgage broker trailing commissions, and that has all but kind of gone nowhere. So the overhaul of the APRA situation, particularly when it comes to superannuation, is something that you could expect Kenneth Hayne to be pretty personally, supportive of.
And you can tell he seems to have really waited for maximum impact. I think that's his first comment since the final report, as you said. But it is interesting to see APRA, just in the last hour, they've come out with some new regulations around remuneration. And we know if you want to hit the banks where it hurts, it's always the hip pocket. And so it looks like they are reducing those metrics about how you calculate the income for top bankers. That's going to be another tough fight for the government as well.
Oh, it certainly is. And you've got to spare a thought here for Ross McEwen, who's just been named CEO of NAB, the old bait and switch. He's going to be on $2.5 million a year. But of course, the balloon payment, 150% available if all of his performance is in line. Now, look, you're right there. APRA has said that no more than 50% of bonuses may be decided by measurements such as total shareholder return. This is that if there are poor customer returns, then the CEO and the major executive should not be able to get enormous bonuses. So, look, when they are paid millions and millions of dollars, it's kind of hard to argue against this sort of thing. But look, it's certainly a turbulent time for the top bankers, as we've seen a lot of scalps claimed by the Royal Commission, no more so than the NAB itself. But yeah, Ross McEwen's going to be interestingly pouring through this information, I would imagine.